So I actually have two poems that I'd like to share, if that's okay. It kind of talks about like my mother, my father, and then the people back home. And because like how I mentioned, I get to experience everything with the country that my culture is not present in. I don't see it outside of home. You know, I don't see it at the University of Utah where I spend most of my time. I only see it when I come home. I'm welcomed in the ways that I want to be welcomed when I'm in the hands of my mother, in the eyes of my father. You know, I don't see who I am outside of the space that I'm most in. So, is it okay if I share the poem? Can I pull it out? Yeah. This poem is called Las manos de mamá, which means the hands of my mother. Your hands have aged with time, but they are the hands that represent the growth you have gained and the growth that you have given me. Your hands, the hands that have held me, the hands that have fed me, the hands that have protected us throughout time, the hands that always nurture me, the hands that always welcome me with love. Your hands, the hands that continue to heal. So this is one for my people and it doesn't really have a title, but from the people of the clouds down to earth. Deep, dark eyes that have brought generations of hope and creation, colors that melt and glow in the sun, brows that represent the thickness of our resistance, noses with traditional fragrances of earth and land, lips that speak generations of family, music, and love, hands that hold healing, forgiveness, and remembrance, bodies filled with light and lots of love to live. So my name is Itzel Nava. I'm a senior at the University of Utah, and my major is currently political science and sociology. I knew that I wanted to go to college, and I knew I was smart, and I knew that I had what it took, but I just didn't know how to get there or like where to start. So I'm an undocumented student. Obviously, I don't have a social security. I didn't have at the time a worker's permit. I'm under DACA now, but at the time I didn't know what that was. My counselor kept telling me, well, I'm not sure how you could apply or any of those kind of things. And I would go home and my parents would be like, well, we don't know either. You know, so I'm like, so where do I start? I'm like, first of all, I can't afford the $50 application for the University of Utah. I'm like, so I can't bypass that. I don't have a social security. All I know is basic things. I didn't know when deadlines were, nothing. But then all of a sudden something like clicked in my head and I was like, you know what? If my parents don't know, if my counselor doesn't know, I'm gonna look for these people who are willing to help me. At the end of my senior year, I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, but I knew I got accepted into the University of Utah, which was a huge thing because I remember sitting with my family in the living room, and I'm the first person in my family to go to college or to graduate from high school. But we were sitting and we got home. My dad works 2 jobs, so we stayed up really late waiting for my dad to come home, and finally came home and he was like, okay, let's open your letter. And we opened my letter. We all sat together as a family, something that we usually never do because everyone works different schedules. We don't have time to even eat as family. But that time was super special, and I still remember everything, where everyone was sitting. And I opened the envelope and it was just the first 3 letters were like, congratulations, Itzel. And that really hit home because I'm like, my parents migrated thousands of miles for this opportunity for me, you know? And thanks to my parents, I am successful and I am the person that I am because of them. So I obviously was told that it was out of my reach, but this was the first step. This was the first stone that I had to take on this path. So I'm an indigenous woman. I come from the Pueblo, the Zapotec people, and they're people of the clouds. So oftentimes our stories are not documented in books. There's no book that I can find in the library that says where I come from or what my people believe in or what our tradition is, like our food. There's not many things that are documented, and a lot of the things that I know that make up my identity, which is a big part of who I am, is by word of mouth, by my elders, by my mother, my grandmother, my grandparents. So I think it's important for people who are part of this issue, part of this just this whole group of people to be able to pass down these same stories that I was once told. And I think as young people, it's our duty to pass down these stories, you know, because so I recently lost my grandparents, and it just saddens me that this is my reality because I feel like once I get the opportunity, as an undocumented student, I currently don't have the opportunity to go back home to travel because of the borders. And when I go home, I fear that there will be no living ancestors that I can come home to. because everything that I get to experience and I get to live through right now is because of my mother, who has, preserved the culture, preserved she has documented her life and her family, and I only get to experience it country and thousands of miles away. Storytelling and photographing individuals in our community is important because we get to really state to one another that we're still here. We're still alive. Indigenous people are not gone. We're still protecting the land, and most importantly, we're still protecting each other. So scholarships that are given to students like me are super important because we have the drive to be here. We deserve to be here. We're qualified to be in spaces like these. But if you come from a family like mine who doesn't have enough, who doesn't make enough money, and who is also undocumented, oftentimes your opportunities to achieve higher education is so low. And I think scholarships are important, extremely important, because they give you the opportunity to better yourself, to better not only just yourself, but your family, your community, and give back to the same people who have helped you. And what I would like to say to the donors is thank you, like from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my family's heart. Thank you for, giving me the opportunity to be in a space that I was once told was out of my reach. I know that this is opening a door for my future and opening a door for a path that I've already been on. So I just want to say thank you. And it's thanks to people like you. It's thanks to people like you who believe in students like me, and you make it possible for me to take up some space in a place where I'm qualified to be in. So thank you.